welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a genuinely unforgettable story about a young boy named John, a terrifying predator lurking out in the wild, and honestly, an absolutely incredible escape. It's one of those narratives that perfectly mixes the pure, innocent excitement of childhood with a massive, profound lesson on faith. It's the ultimate test of bravery in the face of certain doom, and I think you're going to love how this all unfolds. But real quick, before we jump into today's story, please take just a second to like, subscribe, and drop a comment on this channel, Emmanu'el. You can find the handle at @themessiah-a. Your support means everything to us, and it's what lets us keep bringing you these deep dive explainers. Okay, let's get right into it with a huge question that sets up our whole story. Think back to the pure joy of summer break when you were a kid, right? The freedom, the zero responsibilities, just pure anticipation. Now imagine all of that innocent excitement coming to a sudden dead stop, all because of a chance encounter with an evil, hungry lion. How does a 9-year-old even process that level of terror? And more importantly, how in the world does he survive it? Let's break it down. Section 1. A journey to Nanny's. So the timing is perfect. School is finally out. John is absolutely buzzing with excitement. He gets his bag packed, entirely focused on visiting his grandmother, who he lovingly calls Nani. But here's the catch. To get to her safe, comforting home, he can't just stroll down a regular sidewalk. He literally has to navigate his way through a notoriously dense, dark jungle. Picture those heavy vines, the thick canopy blocking the sunlight, shadows everywhere. And according to the story, this isn't just any regular jungle. This happens to be the undisputed hunting ground of a truly evil lion. Section 2. The evil lion's threat. Almost the second he steps into the trees, John comes face to face with his absolute worst nightmare. There's no buildup, no ominous rustling in the bushes, just immediate paralyzing terror. This evil lion stares down at a terrified 9-year-old boy, doesn't hesitate for even a fraction of a second, and in this deep, booming voice delivers a completely chilling promise. Today, I am going to hunt you, and then I will eat you. I mean, just let the reality of those words sink in for a second. For a kid completely alone in an echoing jungle, hearing that is practically a death sentence. Section 3. A deadly promise to keep. What happens next is this absolutely wild, desperate negotiation. On one hand, you've got John's trembling plea. He's fighting through tears and sheer panic, just begging for a little more time. And he makes a massive promise. He says that if he can just see his grandmother one last time, just to give her one final hug, he will voluntarily come back to the jungle to be eaten. It's a deadly promise to make. On the other hand, you have the lion's completely cold logic. The lion actually agrees to let John go. But wait, it's not out of mercy. It's simply because his stomach is already full from an earlier meal. Hunting John right then and there is just unnecessary effort. So, just like that, John's grim fate is locked in for a later date. From there, the vacation essentially turns into a cruel ticking clock. Day 1 is pure relief. John makes it to Nani's house and just gets enveloped in these warm, safe hugs. And for days 2 through 5, it's actually great. They spend happy days together in perfect safety. But then, we hit day 6. As the last day creeps up, all that joy just totally evaporates. The crushing reality kicks in. John remembers that deadly promise, and the shadow of the evil lion follows him right into the safety of his grandmother's living room. It is time to pay up. Section 4. Nanny's advice and prayer. While Nani is sharp and she instantly spots that her grandson is in severe distress. Once John finally breaks down crying and spills this whole horrifying truth, she steps right in. Now, most adults would absolutely panic here, right? Not Nani. She offers this profound, grounding calm, giving him 3 gentle, incredibly actionable steps. Step 1, do not be afraid. Step 2, pray to Jesus. Step 3, trust that he will make a way. She's literally handing John the spiritual tools to shift his mindset from paralyzing terror to absolute, unwavering faith. And incredibly, John listens. That very night, with his deadly deadline right around the corner, he follows Nani's advice to the letter. He kneels beside his bed and prays sincerely to the Almighty. Think about the emotional weight there. You're 9 years old. You know an apex predator is waiting in the jungle to devour you at sunrise. And yet, John goes to sleep. Not tossing and turning in endless panic, but actually sleeping with genuine newfound hope. He takes this impossible burden and completely places it in a higher power's hands. It's an unbelievable display of courage. Section 5. The Magical Flying Mat. Morning arrives. The deadline is here, which brings us to the ultimate climax of the explainer. This is the moment of truth. Sure, John woke up with renewed courage, but let's be real, courage alone doesn't stop the claws of a hungry beast. So as John steps out the door to fulfill his end of this nightmare bargain, you have to ask, how is he actually going to get past this evil lion? What is the mechanism for his escape here? The answer? It's an absolute game changer, a miraculous surprise. The story tells us that Jesus blesses John with a magical flying mat. I mean, no way, right? Right in the middle of this intense, terrifying, life-or-death situation, an honest-to-goodness flying rug just appears. It is this incredibly uplifting, whimsical moment of divine intervention. John thanks God, says his brave goodbyes to Nani, sits right down on that magical mat, and literally just takes off into the sky. Just imagine the sheer visual contrast here. Up above the trees, way out of harm's reach, there's John, safely soaring high over the dense jungle, waving down with this massive smile on his face. And down below, the terrifying, evil lion is completely stuck on the dirt, craning his neck, looking up in utter astonishment. All of that lion's cold logic and predatory power are completely defeated and rendered totally useless by this soaring, brilliant act of faith. Section 6. The Power of Faith. So, what does this all mean for us? These core takeaways show exactly why this story matters so much. The moral here is crystal clear. Have faith in Jesus and trust him in every single situation. When you hit terrifying difficulties, even ones that feel as inescapable as a hungry lion waiting for you in the dark, pray and place your confidence entirely in him. The narrative shows us that we can overcome any challenge if we ask, trust the guidance of those who love us, and genuinely believe. It's a reminder that sincere prayer can conquer literally our greatest fears. Which brings us to a massive question I want to leave you with today. Look, we might not be walking through a literal jungle to visit our grandmothers, but we all face our own dark paths and sudden scary obstacles. What impossible lions are you facing right now? And looking at John's quiet, profound trust, how will you find the courage and the faith to soar right over them? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. If you found this story of faith, courage, and magical flying mats as inspiring as I did, please, for sure, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment on the Emmanu'el channel at the handle @TheMessiahA. Keep soaring, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.